What's your name?
Johnny.
And you got this like new way of fighting it, in a sense of speaking. What's so good about it?
Well, I think it's so good as far as what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I think it relates to the real fight situation that's here, that of the modern day warriors, I like to call them. It resembles the closeness of war fighting. Right. A lot of people get into, which I'm not knocking if you a style, you in karate or whatever, different things, but I think the style that I'm doing fits the modern day warrior.
So what's the difference between what you do in UFC, Pride, and all the other forms, like MMA?
Well, for one point, there's no time limits, there's no rounds, and there's no rules to war fighting. I mean, if you was in a war, would you say, hey, go over there, go get your mouthpiece, clean it up? No, you wouldn't do that. You just continue fighting. If you get your arm broke, would a referee jump in there and stop it? No. So it's a lot more realistic to defense, street defense, if you want to call it that. So that's basically.
So how'd you come up with this? I mean,
well, I didn't study different martial arts for a long time, around 17, 18 years, growing up, seeing different things. Of course, seeing Ultimate Fighting, the Horace Gracie, and all the other cats, and seeing different things. And I also been a street fighter myself, and I sat there and really put it to test different martial arts. I know what don't work, not because I feel it don't work, but I know what don't work, what do work, as far as different martial arts.
Okay.
So basically, I just decided just to bring it to weed out all the knots and bring all the what do work together.
So you're saying that what you're doing right now, what you're practicing, and what you believe is actually better than anything out there?
Yeah.
That we know of?
That we know of, yes.
Okay.
That we know of.
And you feel that by teaching this, you can teach pretty much anyone who's able to be taught?
If you
like a prime example, if you taught me what you know,
yeah.
Do you think I can do pride fighting?
Yeah, you can do pride fighting, UFC, and all the other things out there.
And whoop ass.
And whoop ass. Whoop much ass.
Well, you're going to show me that later.
All right. Yeah, you get to that.
What do you know about the history of fighting? Because we had talked about that earlier. You was giving me some good things on the history of fighting, why it came about, its true purpose and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, the history of fighting was never for sport. The history of fighting to me is just like this. It was meant to kill and to eliminate your opponent. I mean, that's just the honest situation. Now, over here in America and different places around the world, they turned it into a sport and, kind of water it down to not be so brutal for the public so they'll be entertained. But for really, fight wasn't the last thing you thinking about. Even them guys in the cage, the last thing they thinking about is entertaining somebody. So it's still, we resort back to real fight, taking your opponent out by any means necessary.
Mm. And that's what you developed.
Yeah. But it's a organized, complete system that I think is complete. A lot of systems, people say they have a system that's complete, but it's so much that they're missing. I say it's bad what they're doing, but the little elements that they're missing.
Okay. So the concept of mixed martial arts, you had talked about that the other day and how that came into play. That the true origin of fighting came out of Africa.
Well, the true origin of fighting came out of Africa. If you don't know that, then look it up. It's out there. If you're a YouTube scroller, then type in the origin of martial art, kemet, and you will see that the true origin of fighting came out of Africa. The Egyptian hieroglyphics have every type of martial art style there is. Now you had different civilizations that came in, like the West, the East Indians, and China, Japan, and different countries that came in, ancient countries that came into Egypt to learn. A lot of them, the Rome, like your Roman Greco, that came out of Africa. Now, if you see these portraits on the wall, you see various positioning styles and forms that you will see in your karate, your taekwondo, your Muay Thai kickboxing, your grappling, your jiu-jitsu. You'll see that. And what has happened is when they came in there, they only took what they could do. So it's like, they came in there, it says, I say Rome came in and said, you know, I like this. They favored the Greco throwing wrestling style. So they favored that. And they appreciate that. They didn't even want to sit there and get the whole gist of what the martial art was in Egypt. They just took a little bit and said, okay, and they ran off and they were happy with that. Roman Greco, that's what they happy with that. You had the Chinese come in, took various styles from the walls and from different people that they knew. It wasn't just the walls, it was people that they talked to, the real Egyptians that was there at that time that taught them. And they left out with their little bit. And so on and so on. And so martial arts spread over the world with different bits and pieces of a big ingredient, and that you can't really, and that's why when that happened, these styles, they're looking for a completion, a mix, or some type of need more or add to, because it was dispersed. These nations came in and took from Africa and dispersed these martial arts, and they took it as the so-called gospel truth. They took it as our style is better than any other style, and then it became taught all around the world, and people go into these dojos and they think, and not realizing the origin of that was they only had a partial truth of what was going on. So to say all that, I'm saying that I took it back to the root, took it back to home, took it back to what it was. Instead of, because mixed martial arts is nothing but just mixing or putting it back together for what it was. Add those key elements that was missing from back 5,000 years ago, even before then. So but instead of just saying what it is, they call it mixed martial arts. Oh, it's mixed. It's not mixed. It never was mixed. It was always together. It always was complete. How can you mix something that was already together? All you did just put back together martial arts. Say it that way.
Yeah, but if you do that, then somebody's gonna put back together. Where did that originate from?
Well, it originated from Africa. So if you say this is put back together, are surgical martial arts, stitched together martial arts. Like your leg get cut off, get your leg put back on. Arm get cut off, put your arm back on. It was one body. You know, I mean, I doubt if anybody seen somebody get their body parts put back together. Oh, he's a mixed person. No, he had his body put back together, and that's what they did.
To that point.
Yeah.
So this is what you do. This is what you learn.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to learn?
Well, it took me the style itself that I learned, it didn't take that long. Already, like I said earlier, I was already accustomed to the martial art field, but don't let that discourage you. And even I see the difference in what I'm doing now versus what I used to do. Okay. A whole lot accurate, a whole lot more precise, and more natural feel to it. But it would take you, I would say that I would make a claim in 3 months you should be sufficient enough to handle your situation in any street situation. In a year's tops, you can be ready for the cage fight.
Really? Man, woman, and child?
Man, woman, and child. Man, woman, and child. Because like I said, it goes back to the origin. If you look at these people's warfare in Egypt, now we come in, now this is a claim that Egyptians, their fighting style was that their martial art originated from Egypt. And martial art is only military art. So it's a form of military fighting. That's what martial art is, military art. So the military of the Egyptian day was undoubtedly one of the most vast and one of the most strong force on this planet known today. A lot of systems, even Rome, Greece, and so on, borrowed their style of military fighting even into their campaign against other countries that they borrowed from Egypt. So we say that these people who fought like this had one of the most strongest armies, influential armies on the face of the planet, had some of the most original styles of executing their military strategies and their plans, and succeeded, conquered vast nations, influenced the world into doing what they do. So why would you say, well,